In this section, I will explain about the various methods by which the capacity can be improved in cellular systems. Now, as the demand for the wireless services goes on increasing, what happens is that the number of channels which is assigned to a particular cell, it will become insufficient. That is, more and more number of users will be there who are demanding more number of channels. So at a point, it becomes necessary to introduce certain techniques so that the designers they are able to provide more channels per coverage area. So we can use techniques such as cell splitting, sectoring and microcell zoning. So these three techniques will be discussed, which is going to improve the capacity of a cellular system. Now in the first case of cell splitting, it increases the number of base station deployed and allows the orderly growth of cellular system. So that is the concept of cell splitting. In sectoring, it is using directional antennas to further control the interference, and in microcell zoning, it distributes the coverage of the cell and extends the cell boundary to hard to reach areas. So the basic characteristic of each of the technique is mentioned here. Now the point to understand here is that in case of cell splitting, there is a growth of base station also. That is, we have to go on increasing the number of base station. Whereas in case of sectoring and microcell zone concept, there is no need to increase the number of base station. Instead, it is giving importance to how to place the antenna in the base station, thereby by which we can increase the capacity by reducing the co-channel interference. So we will see one by one. So the first technique by which we can increase the capacity is split the cells. So when we are splitting the cells, obviously the radius of the cell is going to decrease. So at each and every small cell we require a separate base station. So we are going to increase the base station, but at the new base station we are going to place an antenna which is having a reduced height and also which is transmitting at a lesser power. So the idea or the concept behind cell splitting is that we are going to reduce the radius of the cell. We are increasing the number of base station but with the reduced transmitting power, and we are not going to disturb the frequency allocation scheme. So likewise, we are going to provide more number of cells, more number of clusters and high capacity of the system.
Cell splitting is a process by which we are going to increase the capacity of our cellular communication system. What we mean by cell splitting is that we are going to reduce the size of our cells into smaller cell, and we are going to deploy a base station at each of these smaller cells but with reduced antenna height and reduced transmitting power, in such a way that our frequency reuse pattern is going to be preserved. Now let us look at the following figure in the slide. Now as the demand for our service goes on increasing, what we do is that we try to divide or split the original cell into smaller cells. As you can see, initially the green color shows larger cells of low density. First of all, we are having a number of users in such a way that we have splitted our cells as shown by the green color. Afterwards, we find that our demand of the subscribers has gone on increasing, so that we have to split our cells. Now again, as you can see from the pink color, there are small cells of again high density. That is, more and more subscribers have started using our service. Again we find that that is not sufficient. So again we have to split these cells into smaller cells to again serve another large community of subscribers. So what happens here is that we have not here upsetted in any way our frequency reuse concept. What we have done is simply replacing the large cell by smaller cells and deploying more and more base stations which are going to transmit at lower power. The important point to be noted here is that as desired we can activate or deactivate these smaller cells. For example, if I find that my service is getting more as a design provider, I have to provide more service, say in the morning hours, I can go and activate those small cells only during that time. Afterwards, I can deactivate those cells. So, depending upon the demand from the subscriber side, I can decide upon the activation of my smaller cells. Refer to the figure. This is just for understanding. This shows a typical cellular radio plan. Here you can see a dotted random line which is going to represent an area to be covered by a service provider. So you can see from the figure that there are variety of cell sizes, some with the larger cluster size and some with the smaller cluster size. So the one with the larger cluster size, for example like 12, it is going to represent the place where we are having a very low traffic density. Okay. Now the cluster sizes which are smaller, say for example 4, there you are having to handle more and more number of subscribers. So cell splitting is actually fine tuned to demand. Where we have to support large number of customers, there we are going to split our cells more and more. An important point to be noted while employing the cell splitting process is that we should not disturb the frequency reuse plan of our system. As the demand for the subscribers goes on increasing, we are not having the liberty to use new additional frequency channels. Whatever channels are already available, that only we are going to use in the new splitted cells also. So, the figure is an illustration of how a cell splitting is being carried out. In the figure shown, the letters are representing the base station location. Here the base stations are typically located at the corner of these cells, and we find that the area which is served by the base station A is saturated. That is, at the point A, more and more subscribers are asking for the service. So what we do is that we are now going to split. At A point we are having to have 6 new microcells, and this other 6 new microcells, they are going to reuse the same set of frequency channel in such a way that we preserve the originally frequency plan of our system. Here the cells are split in such a way that the radius of each new microcell is half that of the original cell. When you are observing the base station labeled G, it is placed halfway between two larger stations using the same channel G. Similarly, for every others, we are going to place it in halfway between the original base station. This is very important. We cannot upset our original frequency reuse concept. Also, we have to keep the interference at the minimum level. Now we have splitted the cells in such a manner that our new cell radius is going to be half of that of the original cell radius. We know that in a mobile radio channel, our received signal strength is going to decay as a power law of distance of separation between a transmitter and a receiver antenna. So we have to write our received power equation in such a manner that it is going to be directly proportional to the transmitted power and inversely proportional to the distance of the antennas relating to its path loss exponent. Here the path loss exponent value n can be in the range from 2 to 4. For this example, I have taken the value of n to be equal to 3. Now, in order to preserve the frequency reuse plan of our system, the original cell and the new microcell has to behave similarly, which means that the received power has set to be equal. So, what we do is that first of all we write the equation for the received power at the old cell boundary, then we write the equation for the received power at the new cell boundary, then we have set them to be equal to preserve the frequency reuse plan of our system. So, in other words, we find that our transmitter power must be reduced by 9 dB to fill the original coverage area. This is shown in the slide. An important point to be noted in this slide is that we are not going to split all the cells simultaneously. Depending upon the demand from the subscribers, we will go on to split the cells. Now, the channel assignments will become more and more complicated. In order to avoid this, initially at the splitting process, we are going to divide the channel into two channel groups. One for the smaller cells and other for the larger cells. Here we have to remember about the umbrella cell concept, where we are going to have a very large umbrella cell for the high speed users so that their handoff is going to occur less frequently. They are going to move at a very high speed so that a single large cell is enough for them. Where we are going to have the pedestrian users or the low speed users, we can have small cells for them. And what we have to understand that at these small cells, we are going to employ antennas at a very low transmitting power. So in order to overcome the handoff problem, we have to remember our umbrella cell approach along with the cell splitting process.
We know that we are going to increase the capacity by reducing the number of cells per cluster, thereby increasing the frequency reuse. But the problem is that this will lead to a high interference. So we must do something to take care of this extra interference that is being generated. So after reading this slide, we must understand that in sectoring, instead of employing omnidirectional antennas, we will be using sectored antennas or directional antennas which are going to radiate only in specified sectors. So we are going to reduce our relative interference. Then we can reduce the cluster size, that is the number of cells in one cluster. So this is the idea we are going to employ in sectoring. The technique by which we are going to reduce the co-channel interference and thus increase our performance by using directional antennas is called as sectoring. Now, how we are going to do the sectoring? A cell will be normally partitioned into 3, that is 120 degree sectors, or 6, that is 60 degree sectors, as shown in the figures A and B. The figure is an illustration of how sectoring is going to reduce the co-channel interference. This is the example of 120 degree sectoring. Usually for cluster size n is equal to 7, there will be 6 co-channel cells in the first tier. What happens when we employ omnidirectional antenna? All the 6 co-channel cells will interfere with the center cell. But as seen from the figure, if we are going to employ the 120 degree sectoring, only 2 of them will be interfering with the center cell. So instead of using the omnidirectional antennas, we have employed directional antennas here with 120 degree sectoring. Even though there are many advantages of sectoring, that is, it is going to enable the mobile planners to reduce the cluster size so that we can reuse the frequency more and more. There is additional freedom obviously in assigning the channels. But the problem is that since we are going to reduce our co-channel interference, we are going to shrink our cluster size. We are going to have increased number of antennas at each base station. Unlike the cell splitting, we are not going to play with the size of the cell and increase the number of base station, but we are going to have additional number of antennas at each base station. And we also have a decrease in trunking efficiency due to channel sectoring at the base station. Here, handoff is also going to increase because we are going to do sectoring, which is reducing the coverage area for one particular group of channels.
So all these are disadvantage of problem of sectoring. This disadvantage of sectoring is going to be eliminated in a microcell zone concept.
Now, the disadvantage of sectoring is overcome in the microcell zone concept. So, in microcell zone concept, what is going to make up a particular cell? That is, a cell will be conceptually divided into several other microcells, or it will be called commonly as zone. And each of these zone, it will be connected to a common base station via a microwave or a fiber link. So it is going to extract the good points of both the sectoring and the cell splitting. So like the cell splitting, we are assuming that we can have the increased number of cluster in a cell. So that is a good point we are extracting in cell splitting. And in sectoring, we are going to use directional antenna to reduce the interference. But in microcell zone concept, several of the zones and a single base station together is going to make a cell. And the mobile station can freely move in any of these zones. So the mobile station, it will be served by a strongest zone. So as the mobile moves from one zone to another zone, there is no need of handoff, because all these zones, they are going to use a particular set of channel and they are being served by the same base station. The only thing is that they are going to use directional antennas. That is, each and every zone, they are going to have directional antenna, and the base station has to simply switch the channel from one zone to another zone. So the concept will be clear by looking at the subsequent figure.
Now for the simplicity of illustration, we are going to take here circular patterns which are overlapping. The cells here are represented in circular manner. We need this overlap to take care of the handoff. But here what we have to understand is there is no handoff. A smooth switching is occurring when a mobile station is moving from one zone to the other zone. All of them are not having separate base station. Indeed, they all are connected to the same base station. Obviously, we need to have some logic, a zone selector, to decide whether the base station is using zone 1, 2 or 3. Now, the first important point to be noted here is that the antenna is directional antenna. It is providing coverage on only one side, depending upon the radiation pattern of the antenna. In this figure, we have got 3 zones and 3 antennas. And the second point to be noted is that none of the antennas here are doing any sort of thinking. They are just passive radiators. We have a mobile station which is freely moving. It can move in any zone. Suppose in the first case, it is moving, say, from zone 1 to zone 2. There is no need for any activation of the transmitter which was originally present. There is no need of handoff, because the same channel is to be rerouted, say from one zone to the other zone. If it was using, say, a one particular frequency channel, it is the same channel which is now being radiated through the next zone. This thinking here is being done by the base station. The MSC doesn't even need to know what has happened. There is no problem of a dropped call. So the user is unaware of anything and there is nothing much handoff required when moving from one zone to another zone. So the problem of sectoring is being completely eliminated here. And in this concept, we have extracted the good points both of cell splitting as well as sectoring. So this is a basic concept of microzone cell concept.
So these are some of the advantages of the microcell zone concept. That is, we can have a reduced interference. That is, a cell concept here means that we are going to cover all these zones. That is, a cell maintains a particular coverage radius. That is, it is using the same set of channel in all these zones. So the core channel interference is reduced here. Why? Because a large central base station Here it is replaced by several low power transmitters, that is zone transmitters at the edge of the cell. So likewise we have decreased co-channel interference, which improves the quality of the signal, and it also leads to increase in the capacity without degradation, that is in trunking efficiency as caused by the sectoring. So we will be able to use the same set of channels in all the zone. That is, while a user is moving in the zone, the channel will be active only in that particular zone in which that user is currently present. So there is no loss in trunking efficiency and no extra handoff as in the case of sectoring. So the disadvantages of sectoring is eliminated here, and also there is an increase in capacity. So we can say that it is going to eliminate the disadvantages of sectoring, and it is going to use good points of both the cell splitting as well as the sectoring. Now coming to the repeaters for range extension. So repeaters can also be used for increasing the range of a cellular system, thereby increasing the capacity. The repeater simply means that they are going to receive the signal from the base station, amplify it and re-radiate it. But also the problem here is that the interference and the noise, that is also going to get propagated along with the repeaters. So the repeaters can be used in hard to reach areas like in tunnels, valleys, etc. So in this section I have increased the three techniques mainly by which the capacity of a cellular system can be increased, and also repeaters could be used for the range extension of cellular system.